Many people believe that the largest underwater creature in the ocean is the blue whale, but some disagree. They believe that the leader is the bloop, a creature that makes even a huge blue whale seem tiny compared to it. I suggest you get to know it better. In this episode, I'll tell you about the bloop and also show you the biggest deep-sea creatures in the world. Let's go! The bloop. It's worth starting with the fact that the bloop is not so much a creature as it is a sound. It was first recorded in the summer of 1997 when hydrophones in the Pacific Ocean picked up a low-frequency hum. This sound, like a gurgle, was clearly different from all that scientists have recorded before. It was heard at a distance of over 3,000 miles and was very similar to the sound made by whales or dolphins. But no whale or dolphin is able to roar so powerful. Then, many scientists believed that a living creature could not make such a sound. According to one version, hydrophones recorded the grinding of icebergs on the seabed. This version is not bad, but many don't agree with it.
No.
Theorists believe that these scientists recorded the sound of a living creature, and they have several arguments. For example, at the time the sound was recorded, a National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration research vessel was surveying the deep Pacific Ocean along the Chilean coast. The radar showed that something of incredible size swam quickly beneath the vessel as the sound was being recorded. The way it moved was like a living creature. It couldn't have been a submarine. Could it have been the bloop? But then I don't know what 3,000 miles had to do with it. Either the scientists were confusing something or the bloop was also swimming at lightning speed. But that's not all. Even famous explorers told about the bloop long before scientists recorded the sound in the Pacific Ocean. For example, Jacques Cousteau said that once something huge swam past his bath escape, and the length of this something was at least 650 to 1,000 feet. Thor Heyerdahl also said about this mystical giant, one day he saw something gigantic from a submarine emitting a terrifying hum. Many people are sure Heyerdahl, Cousteau, as well as scientists from the Pacific Ocean, they all encountered the planet's most gigantic creature, which was named the bloop after the same sound. It's believed to live in the South Pacific near Antarctica. Its length is about 1,000 feet, its body slightly glows, and the monster itself makes frightening sounds. For such a monster, there are no barriers and obstacles. It can hunt anything at all, and everything will not always be enough for it. In any case, so far it's only theories and speculation. No one has yet been able to confirm the existence of the bloop. We can only rely on eyewitness accounts and sound recordings by scientists. But if the bloop is officially discovered, it will completely change the entire ocean fauna and become one of the most important discoveries of all time. And what do you think? Do you believe that there's a 1,000-foot monster somewhere in the ocean? Or is it all fake? Share your thoughts in the comments and keep watching to see other, already absolutely real giants from great depths. Giant siphonophore. Many people believe that the blue whale is the longest animal in the world. Indeed, the length of some individuals exceeds 100 feet, so this assumption is quite logical. However, the giant siphonophore may be much larger. Yes, it's not nearly as massive as the blue whale. Some siphonophores of the Priodubia species can reach up to 164 feet in length. In general, giant siphonophores are deep-sea cnidarians. They prefer to live at great depths of 2,300 feet to several kilometers, and they can be found all over the world. Interestingly, giant siphonophores are not a single organism. In fact, they're a huge colony of tiny zooids that are interconnected. What's a zooid? It's just a single individual of this giant colony. All zooids are united in a single structure, where each organism performs its own function to support the entire colony. For example, some zooids hunt, others defend, still others feed, and so on. Colossal squid. Next up is a creature that's very easy to confuse with the giant squid, but they should not be confused. They're different animals. Although they look similar, but as you can see, the colossal squid is more massive. It's also known as the Antarctic squid. This monster is the real kraken of our world. It reaches almost 50 feet in length and weighs up to half a ton. For comparison, the giant squid is noticeably lighter, although it's longer. However, its length is due to its tentacles, not its body. The Antarctic squid is another fan of extreme depths. It can be found at depths of 650 to 6,500 feet, so it's not an easy task to catch it on camera. For this reason, scientists do not know as much about the colossal squid as they would like to. By the way, it's interesting that such a huge size of the squid is a consequence of the fact that it lives at great depths. The Antarctic colossal squid is a typical example of deep-sea gigantism, a curious phenomenon in which creatures that live at great depths reach colossal size. Japanese spider crab. This animal is another sea creature that's become a victim of deep-sea gigantism. Not so much that it's even creepy to look at, although the Japanese spider crab itself is not dangerous. This is the biggest arthropod on the planet. It's much, much bigger than the usual crabs you're used to. It can be up to 20 feet long with legs, and the mass of the spider crab reaches up to 44 pounds. It looks very epic. People who take pictures with this crab are the real lucky ones. First, they'll have a very unusual picture to remember, and secondly, not everyone is lucky enough to see this giant with their own eyes. Japanese spider crabs are common in the Pacific Ocean at a depth of up to 1,000 feet, so to catch them is not an easy task. People catch them not just to take cool pictures. The Japanese spider crab is considered an exquisite delicacy, and a live Japanese spider crab is used for scientific or decorative purposes and is often kept in large aquariums. By the way, such a pet is likely to outlive any of its owners because these arthropods live up to 100 years. Huge amphipod. The creatures called amphipods are arthropods that live somewhere at the bottom of seas and freshwater bodies. As a rule, they're not large, their length rarely exceeds even 0.3 inches, and to discern some amphipods you'd have to take a magnifying glass or even a microscope. But if deep-sea gigantism comes into play, you can do without these tools. This is a huge amphipod of the Alicella gigantea species. This is the largest amphipod that grows up to 13 inches in length. It is literally dozens of times larger than its smaller relatives. These creepy creatures live very deep. For example, the record breaker was photographed at a depth of 1,389 feet in the Pacific Ocean. This is good news. You're unlikely to ever come face to face with this creature in the ocean. We've already had the Kraken today. You remember the colossal squid from Antarctica, right? Now it's the sea serpent's turn. Here it is. Check out how unusual and long it is. At moments, it looks like its body will never end. In fact, it's not a sea serpent, but the king of herrings, also known as the giant oarfish. It's the longest bony fish on the planet. However, it's believed that giant oarfish were the prototypes of the legendary sea serpents and greatly frightened ancient sailors and fishermen. And you know, I understand them very well. Even in our time, and even knowing about the existence of such fish, I myself would be very scared seeing them alive. After all, some giant oarfish can grow up to 36 feet in length and weigh more than 550 pounds. To me, that's too unnatural for a fish. However, such huge giant oarfish are rather the exception. Normal individuals are not so large, but are also impressive. On average, their length is from 10 to 16 feet. By the way, the giant oarfish is another example of deep-sea gigantism. The prototypes of sea serpents live at depths of up to 1,600 to 2,300 feet, and sometimes they can even be found at the 3,200 feet mark below the surface. To see a giant oarfish that's risen from the depths is very rare, and in some countries it's considered a bad omen. And finally, I suggest you take a look at one prehistoric underwater giant, which is scarier than all these huge deep-sea creatures put together. I'm talking about Basilosaurus. It's not some dinosaur as the name might suggest. In fact, Basilosaurus lived much later than dinosaurs, 45 to 36 million years ago, and was an ancient cetacean. Basilosaurus had a dolphin-like snout, a whale-like size, and a shark-like aggression. All in all, it is truly an incredible mix. The prehistoric monster reached 70 feet in length and was the largest predator of its time. Basilosaurus' special body structure allowed it to make swift attacks. These ancient whales attacked large prey, including other whales. They also easily dealt with dangerous sharks. According to the official version, Basilosaurus went extinct tens of millions of years ago, but some theorists disagree. In their opinion, small populations of Basilosaurus may still exist today, and it's Basilosaurus that eyewitnesses mistake for a sea serpent or some other mythical monsters. But what if it was a surviving Basilosaurus that made the bloop sound? Or maybe this animal and the bloop keep the inhabitants of the Pacific at bay right now, together. I think anything's possible. That's all, guys. Which deep-sea creature impressed you the most? Let me know in the comments. Thank you for watching, and see you later.